On Tech Assignment A. You're welcome to use Google Sheets or um, Excel. It's up to you. I tend to use Google Sheets only because I know that it's free software. I mean, it's free as anything can be these days, but it's accessible. All right, and Excel isn't always. All right, so I'm going to go this route, but the commands I'll be using here are universal. They work in both. All right, so first thing you're going to do is copy and paste this table into the spreadsheet. All right, so I'm going to, if I haven't already done so, make the Word version of this available on Blackboard so that it's easy to copy paste, because trying to copy paste it from a PDF is not as user friendly. Right, so not always anyway. So I'm going to paste that in there, do a little reformat. Let's try to clean it up here. Sorry, I'm using a trackpad, so for me that's a little tricky. But anyway, so from the course syllabus, you have the breakdown on the percentage weights for everything in the class. All right, so the below is a sample of student data from a stat class based on the grading policy above. What would be the student's letter grade in the course? All right, so basically I'm taking you through what the tech assignment is asking you to do. So as long as you just kind of follow what I'm doing here and create your own spreadsheet, then you're going to be in pretty good shape. All right, and more than pretty good shape. I tend to say stuff like that. What I mean is you will get a perfect score. All right. So what we want to do is not only account for the scores, but also account for the weights. All right. So this individual got a 10 out of 10 for discussion 1, a 9 out of 10 for discussion 2, and so on. All right. So we want to account for all of that stuff. So looking at the discussion, participation, and perseverance category, which is 10%, that's going to amount to all of these scores in total. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of have a side computation over here. All right, I color coded it to make it easy when I scroll back and forth, but you could also just kind of zoom out a little bit if it's easy enough to do that. You could also adjust the percent zoom of your browser. That's up to you. All right. So anyway, what I'll do is I'll just have kind of like a little running total over here for discussion. Now what I want to do is take the sum of all of these values and the sum of all these values. All right. So the way we do that is by using the sum command. All right. So now I also want to account for the weight, but let me just, one thing at a time. All right. So anytime you want to do a mathematical operation in a spreadsheet, you want to use an equal sign to get it started. Otherwise, it'll think it's a string of characters, like where I wrote student score, possible points, things like that. It'll think, or even just a numerical value in and of itself, not an actual operation. All right. So what I want to do here is take the sum, and you can see a list of commands come up if you're not familiar with this sort of thing. Open paren, and then drag and drop, and you'll see B3 colon B7 appears. All right, that's because we're in column B, that's the column reference, with row 3 through row 7 making up my sum. All right, so if I ended it right here, you can see in the top that little tab there that says 41, that's what those numbers add up to. So if this was the end of my operation, that's what it would report. If I hit enter right now, the number 41 would come up. Right, but I don't want to do that. What I want to do is divide this by the sum of these entries, C3 to C7. So you don't have to drag and drop. You can just type it in if you want. Sometimes that's the way to go if maybe you're inputting into a cell in the lower right-hand corner of the spreadsheet and what you're referring to is in the upper left-hand corner. But this is giving me a 0.82, which means that I've got 82%, me not so good with grammar, 82% of the available points for discussions. So I'm going to hit enter, lock it in, Now it's going to ask me if I want to autofill. I don't, because I don't want this operation to carry through all these other things because it doesn't apply. So I'm going to hit the X. I'm going to reject it. I'm going to slide this over to give myself a little bit more room. All right. So we're up to exit surveys, orientation quiz, and all that good stuff. All right. Everything in green, including technology assignments, everything in green here falls under the category of quizzes, technology assignments. So we're going to do the same thing. All right. And you might want to abbreviate it. All right. So I'll call it Q/TA. All right. Q/TA. Google Sheets doesn't think that I'm typing in an algebraic expression because I didn't put an equal sign in front of it. All right. Now, if I want to, I can mess around with the format, but that's different. So you can offset it to the right. I leave that up to you. All right. That's really not the point of this whole thing. So what I can do now, if I want to get a little cute, is I can copy paste this. Command C if you're using the Mac, Control C if you're using something else. Now, take a look at what it just did. It copied B16 to B20. What it did is it took a look at what we had just done for discussion, and it tried to figure out what we probably wanted to do for our QTA. All right. So we took the previous 4 values, added it to the current value, and then divided it by the total possible points. So it thought maybe that's what we want to do here, but not really, because if I click on the orange up here, you'll see that it's not quite what I want. All right. So I want this to go not B16. I'm going to hit the backspace. I want it to go B8. Not C16, C8. All right. When you hit enter, it'll lock it in, and you'll see that I only got a really not so nice 46% roughly of the available quiz tech assignment points. All right, so I'm not doing my job in the quiz technology assignment department. All right, so that might work against us in the later innings. So we'll see. But anyway, we have unit test 1, so I'll call that UT1. UT, you see it thinks, okay, well, I started off with UT, maybe I want a 1. No, I want a 2 this time. UT3. I mean, you don't have to use abbreviations. You can write the whole thing if you want. And then cumulative final exam. All right. Now, each of these is just a raw division. All right. 79 over 100. Now, there's other ways to do it, but I'm working with percentage points here, and then I'm going to use whole numbers to represent the weights. All right. So, like I said, different ways to do it, but this is how I'm going to do it. All right. So this would be equals this entry divided by this entry, which would be 0.79. Now, you might look at that and say, well, I could just type that in. I could just type in 0.79 or 0.34, 0.87, 0.6. Look how smart I am. The whole idea is that you want to have something that will automatically compute your average for any change that you make along the way. All right. So what I can do here, you see that little box at the bottom there? Just drag that down if you want. It'll autofill. If you don't like that, Command C or Control C, Control V. You can do it multiple cells at a time. Yeah. Whatever works. All right. Now there are more advanced concepts when it comes to Excel and Sheets. I mean, some of you may be familiar with that. And I'm trying to keep it simple here for the novices among us. So, like if you know how to do things like reference lookups and stuff like that, that's wonderful. I'm not going to get into that here. All right. We'll do some stuff with lookups later on down the line. But for now, I'm just going to actually type in the weights. So I'll write percent weight. You know what? I'm going to get cute. I'm going to use the percent symbol. All right. The percent weight for discussion is 10. For quizzes, I'm scrolling in the wrong thing. For quizzes, you see that's 30, and then everything else is 15. So 30 15, and then, like I said, just grab that little square thingy and drag it on down the line. Now what we can do is multiply the percent by the appropriate weight. So equals, we're taking E7 and multiplying it, so shift 8 for a multiplication symbol, by F7. Now it's asking us if I want to do an autofill. Well, I really don't, in the sense that I don't want all these zeros, but I do want all the stuff that follows all the zeros. So what I'll do is I'll hit check for yes, and then I'll just wipe out all the stuff I don't want. All right, and so then I'll say grade. And the grade is going to be equal to the sum of all of these entries. Now you can get rid of the space in between, but since there's nothing there, it doesn't really impact anything, so it doesn't really matter. All right, and so that would be the student's grade in the course. All right, so a low D. Now you look at the test scores; they're not so hot. I mean, you got an 87 there, but you also have a 34. You got a 79, but you also got a 60. All right, so that's hurting, obviously. The discussions are all right, but those quizzes are really working against this student. Because look, if you had, you have 30 available points, you only got about 14 of them. If you got 16 more points, you'd be up to a 77. All right, so that's something to keep in mind. All right, so it's kind of like, oops, sorry, I scrolled the wrong way. A case of, this is how you use Excel, Google Sheets, and also, hey, this is how you figure out your grade in the class, or one of the ways. All right. So let's assume we're working with the same information, except the cumulative final exam grade is unknown. What must the student earn on the cumulative final exam in order to achieve a C in the class? All right. So the rest of this is going to be really easy. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all this with my trackpad, which is killing me. Now, at the bottom of the screen, there's a little field or a little option that asks or allows you to add a new sheet. All right, so I'm going to click on that. Sign. So I'll click on that. It brings up a new sheet. All right. I'm just going to paste in the exact same stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe out that 60. And it says I got a 52 in the class. All right, because I have no quality points associated with that cumulative final exam. All right. So now you can do a couple of things. My formatting got messed up again, so let me just move that over. I can solve it algebraically, which kind of defeats the purpose of this class. If there are algebraic ways to do it, and that's interesting, but not necessary. All right, because what you can do is just put in a value. All right, so let me just reduce the size a little bit so we can see it. All right, so we need to get a C in the class. So that means anything 70 or above, so 69.5 or better. Okay, and that'll get us there. All right, so let's try, well, what was it before? It was a 60, and that wasn't going to get the job done. What was it as a 60? I forgot. 60, okay, that's no good. We knew that wasn't good. But 70 is way not enough. 80, 90, uh-oh, I don't like the looks of this. 100. Oosh. All right, so what must a student earn on the final exam? Well, I showed the work here, so we're good to go there. I'm going to just type a little message here that unless there's some way to earn bonus, I mean, you could say 120, okay, 120, we're onto something. 119, let's go back to 115. 106. yeah, 116. Ooh, almost there. 117. 116.5. All right, so around 116.5. So you could say a couple of possible answers here that it's not possible. You could say that it would take 116.5 points to get the C in the class. All right, so either way, you just put your answer in some empty field below your work, and so you would say whatever you think, so whatever you think your answer is. All right. Now I pretty much gave it to you, so you should be in good shape there. All right. Replace each of the discussion scores with zeros, and change the unit test grade to unit test number 1 grade to a 100. What's the student's score now? All right. So I'll even do that one for you. So we're going back to the 60, but new sheet for this because we have to distinguish or differentiate our work. I kept my Command C, Command V going on there, so I'm pretty good, as it turns out. So again, all of the discussion scores go to a 10. Oh, I'm sorry, go to 0. That's the opposite. That's not good. It's not good at all. All right, so you didn't do any discussions, but you got a 100 on the first test. Wonderful. All right, so yeah, this answer. What's the student's grade now? That's a big old F. 55.9 according to the grading scale here. All right, below a 60, that's no good. All right, so yeah, you got 100 on it. Actually, you got passing scores. 60 is considered passing on 3 out of the 4 exams, 3 tests and 1 final exam. One of them you didn't do you didn't do it well at all on. You, air quotes you, but you still end up with an F in the class because you didn't do that other stuff. All right. So very, very important. So hopefully you get the idea now. You'll create another sheet. Just going back to the original spreadsheet, replace each of the discussion and exit survey scores with zeros and the unit test and cumulative final exam to 100. Now, see what you get. All right. And then now you have an opportunity. So, like I said, each of these go to 0. Orientation quiz, you got your nice fat 1 there. Exit surveys go to 0. But you got on the unit 1 test, you got a 100. And the cumulative final exam, you got a 100. Will you eke by with a pass grade? Nope. Answer. What's the grade now? F. All right, so no good there either. All right, so you can see here now you have your own raw set of data. So you're going to carry through this entire process just with this unique set of data. All right, so, oops, I hit the wrong thing. Eesh. Okay, I wanted to go back to Go. Oh, there it is. I'm hitting the wrong arrow. What you need to do. All right, so you see my original data is a little different than yours. All right, so you see the same questions just with this set of data. All right, so what I just did you can do for practice, but this is the real assignment. All right, so all this stuff is easy enough to do as long as you follow the process. If you have any questions, just message me.